The poster, Matt Curtis, our titles guy, he did all of our titles. Like I was like, can you just like figure out like how to make your Hedda word fit into this image? And it was is that image of Hedda with the lipstick smeared. And I just really wanted to show, it feels a little bit horror almost. And I wanted it to feel like you're not going to watch just like it's not going to be Merchant Ivory, you know, it's going to be like confrontational a bit, but also a bit sad. And I felt that image captured it perfectly.
Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America. In this episode, a woman finds herself torn between her present life and the lingering ache of a past love in director Nia DaCosta's romantic drama, Hedda. This reimagining of Henrik Ibsen's play, Hedda Gabler, follows the newlywed daughter of a general as she navigates a house she does not want, a marriage she feels trapped in, and an ex-lover who reappears in her life. Over the course of one charged night, long-repressed desires and hidden tensions erupt, pulling her and everyone around her into a spiral of manipulation, passion, and betrayal. In addition to Hedda, DaCosta's other directorial credits include the feature films The Marvels, Candyman, and Little Woods, and episodes of the series Top Boy. Following a screening of the film at the DGA Theater in Los Angeles, DaCosta spoke with director Daniel Scheinert about filming Hedda. Listen on for their spoiler-filled conversation.
Hello. Thank you guys for waiting and for coming out tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for being here.
I saw the film a couple weeks ago and loved it. And I'm so excited to come pick your brain about it because I didn't get to.
Yeah, we were in that very beautiful house.
We went to a really beautiful house, you guys, and watched the movie.
Yeah.
But the snacks were great at
so
that
good.
place. Yeah.
I drank half a margarita. It was delicious.
Yeah, it was a good time. Okay, so I heard you talk a little bit about this, but can you talk a bit about the play and your relationship to it, like how long you've been a fan of this play or chewing on it?
Yeah, so I went to film school at NYU, got like an undergrad in film and television. Then I decided to get a master's because I wanted to do more writing specifically, and I also wanted to learn how to work with actors because we don't really do that at NYU. And so I went to London and got my master's at a drama school and learned how to work with actors, and we were doing a theater module, and we studied A Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen. And
was the master's like film?
It was writing for stage and broadcast media.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah. So it was like we did like TV, film, radio, and theater. Yeah. Essentially. And it was amazing because I had access to so many actors and I had access to theater, and for the first time really. Because at NYU you don't really communicate with the other departments at all. And doesn't make sense.
I had the same experience, and
did you go to NYU?
No, not the same experience. I had a similar experience at a different college, but I got to study film and theater, and felt so lucky. I got to work with actors and learn from acting teachers, and I felt like I learned more about filmmaking. Yeah, it sounds like you made some really smart choices.
Thank you so much. But it is a thing where like theater, that way of working, especially working with actors and figuring out like drama in a different ways, I thought was super helpful. And also I was exposed to different kinds of writing. So Ibsen was like a big one for us and for me. And we studied A Doll's House, but I decided to read Hedda because I was like, I'm kind of a completionist. I was like, I should read all his plays. And I read Hedda Gabler. And I was like, whoa, like this is she's a really confrontational character. And I thought it was so fascinating that this man wrote this play in 1890 in Norway. And he really was, because A Doll's House, the end of the play is this woman leaving her children and her husband to figure out who she is, which is a really controversial now, to do. And then I read Hedda and I was like, oh, he's very serious about complicated, challenging women. And so I just fell in love with it, and I kept thinking about it, and I was marinating on it and ruminating on it, and eventually it became this. Yeah.
In that ruminating process, you had a really exciting career for the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. I imagine you went to some weird fancy parties. Did it spring to mind? Like you'd walk around in a fancy dress and see people getting messy and be like, I remember that play. I feel like Hedda.
You know what? Actually, that's such a good question, because actually so I went to NYU, and when you go to college in America, I don't know if you had this feeling, but do we talk about the drug of choice of the college? NYU's was cocaine. And then I went to London, and it's a very chemical drug city. Yeah. And I don't do drugs really. I smoke some weed sometimes, but I'm I don't really care. I'm more of a tequila person. Mm-hmm. And I also like to stay in control of myself. So I'm never really wild abandoned, but I always witness it. Yeah. And so I've been in a lot of parties where I'm like, this is crazy, but I'm basically sober. Yeah. But I can hang. But I've definitely been at parties where I'm like, oh wow, you're watching everyone's true feelings and intentions come out because everyone's wasted. Yeah. So it did inform it for sure. But also I knew that the story had to happen at a party so that everyone's animals could come out, because that's what Hedda wants. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I have some sober friends, and they notice everything.
Yeah, yeah.
They go to the party and they end up with the best stories
because we remember what's happened.
Yeah, they're actually paying attention to what's being said.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I love that so much. Actually, my friends in New York, they told me this crazy story about a night out they had, which felt like a lot of nights out we had in our 20s. And I was like, that would make such a good movie. Mm-hmm. But I think I could make the movie because I was not there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was because I heard this thing and I was like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. But that's basically what Hedda is.
Yeah. I had flashbacks to awards season, watching the film, being like, whoa, moving through a space and trying to be fancy, but it's hard. And
everyone's doing cocaine.
Yeah, I didn't experience that, but I am kind of similarly square at sometimes in settings, and but I like to dance, but not really. Yeah. Do you like guns?
Oh, well, actually,
when you said drugs of choice, I was like, wait, what drugs are in the movie? My brain went to guns. Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about the drugs and then the guns. But my set decorator, Stella Fox, who's amazing, she knows a lot about the history, this time and what parties were like. And I said, I want to know about drugs. What would the vibe be? And she said, oh, there'd be cocaine on every surface. And I said, excellent. Yes. So that just helps, again, open up what we're doing. And then with guns, I've been I live in the UK now. So I've definitely gone clay pigeon shooting. I don't shoot animals. I just shoot fake animals.
Yeah. Clay pigeon shooting.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Yes. Which is weird because I'm legally blind in my right eye, and I'm right hand dominant. Sorry, this is not about filmmaking, but I hope this is very interesting to you guys. Oh, hi guys. Sorry, my VFX supervisor for my Marvel film and VFX producer are here. So I'm really excited. But anyway, hi. Sorry, continue.
Oh, we were just talking. Yeah, your connection with guns is interesting to me. Yeah, it's such an important part of the film, and it just keeps coming back and just made me so stressed out. And
you also, because it's set in the UK, I have to make the guns make sense, because as an American, obviously we're like, oh, guns for sure. But in the UK, they're like, why are there guns? So Hedda's father is a general. And then this is post-war. So it's the 1950s, which I chose because, I really wanted it to be in a post-war era. I wanted it to be, especially post-World War II, where we're trying to figure out how to put society back together. And it's women, thanks for everything you've done, but go back home, and men, you're traumatized, but go back to work. And it's this conformist, repressed sort of these boxes that don't fit on anyone. So that was a huge part of it. But also, I knew guns would be important. And so the professor, he's he was in World War II. He has a gun because of that service. So it helped in a lot of ways, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that we got around to the setting by way of guns.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. I haven't read the play. Mm-hmm. So I get to play the naive person right now and but I'm so curious about the adaptation process and the things you chose to change. And, but also just like as a writer, I'm very curious, like, I don't know, what's adaptation like for you?
Yeah.
Do you like obsess over scenes and exactly what you're going to change, or just try to feel it out, you know?
I really try to feel it out. I don't feel any sort of fealty to the original material. And I didn't really think about that, but I think for a couple of reasons. One is some of my favorite films are loose adaptations of books or plays. So like Apocalypse Now is incredibly important to me, and it's based on one of my favorite, I guess, novellas, Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. And that relationship between that book and that movie was sort of really important to me, because that's when I decided to become a filmmaker, a director. And so my feeling about adaptation is the original will always exist, and truthful and, you know, one-for-one adaptations of the original will always exist. But the reason why they stand the test of time is that you can always change and manipulate them for now. Even if you don't set it in a contemporary space, you can comment on the now and by using that material. And so I've always felt very free to do that. And also the theater tradition is very much in that space. So like, you know, you'll see classics like Yerma, it will be like Lorca, or it'll say like Simon Stone after Lorca, or it will say, you know, Nia DaCosta after Ibsen would be if I made that on the stage. So like, there's a tradition of, this is like, I'm writing it, but it's after this person, you know? So that's a lot of how I approached it, with a sense of freedom, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever any pushback from like collaborators where they were like, did they ever like question your adaptation, or like, I just curious if that's part of the conversation, or I've never done it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys, I mean, I'm actually thinking now of like someone trying to adapt you guys like in 50 years, which would never happen. It's impossible.
I would love it. We keep getting hit up by people who want to put Swiss Army Man on a stage.
Really?
And I'm so down.
That's so
cool.
I
don't understand. The rights get confusing, and I'm always like,
that would be amazing.
Like, do a splash zone.
The farts.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. That would be so cool. So in terms of pushback, so basically the way I went out with the movie was very specific. I was doing Marvel, and I was like, I need to just go back to doing like me.
Yeah.
And I had written the script, and I was super ready. And I said to my team, let's send this out. And the memo is, I'm not interested in development. I'm interested in like collaborators who want to make the movie I want to make. And this is the movie. This is the script. And of course I'm super collaborative. So there was always going to be that conversation. But what I didn't want was someone to say, oh, here's an interesting script. Let's see what we can do with it. I want it to be, oh, this script I want to help this person make in the way that they want to make it. And so that never, but we did have discussions. Like, for example, in the play, Hedda shoots herself in the head at the end of the play. And I had ended the movie with her going under the water. And I had a call with Jeremy Kleiner and Dee Gardner from Plan B. And they said, love the script. We talked about a lot of stuff. And they said, the ending, like, what do you want the ending to say to people? And I was like, oh, that's a great question. I didn't even think about that, because I just took for granted that I would take the ending from the play, Hedda dies. Eileen always lived in my version. In the play, Eilert, who in my movies, Eileen, dies. I was like, oh, right, actually, I don't want her to die, because I think Hedda, she does a lot of terrible things, but for me, the point is that she's still valid, and her dying at the end would seem like I'm sending a message that I'm punishing her, or that she deserves to die. I want her to have it tomorrow, where she can try again, you know? So from that period of time, no one was confronting me. But then Tessa Thompson came onto the scene, and she watched every version of Hedda, stage and screen, ballets, etc. Read every adaptation, every like translation she can get her hands on, and then Nina Haas played Hedda for 6 years on the German stage. So they were both so familiar with the play. And I think initially our first round of rehearsals, they were a bit like, but what about this line? What about that? What about this? What about that? And I was like, guys, it's not that at all. Some of it went in. Like there were like 2 or 3 lines. So I was like, okay, cool, we can do that. But I was like, we're literally not doing the play. Like it's so different. And then when we came back after the strikes, we had a strike shutdown. I think they kind of were like, oh, we're gonna need to let that go. Let the play go and let it be this. But that was the only pushback that I got.
It sounds like a healthy pushback. But to have those conversations, but yeah, also intimidating to be like, oh, she's a completionist too.
Yeah. She said, I remember when she said she was going to watch all of the, yeah. I said, okay. And she could tell that I was a bit like, don't do that. But she was like, Tessa's incredibly rigorous and research is so important to her. And she just wanted to be so prepared. But I knew if she did that, then those conversations would be coming. And I didn't want to have them. But it was great that we did.
Great.
Yeah.
When I saw the film, there's a weird question, but the screen just had the poster sitting there for like 5 or 10 minutes before I watched the film.
Yeah.
And I was with my partner and she didn't know anything about the film and just was like, I love this image. And then she started waxing poetic about what it meant to her. And she was like, it's about a woman at a party and being messy, but about the freedom of being messy, but she's got a sadness to her. And I was like, oh, this is
before the movie. I love it.
Yeah. But it just made me want to ask a bit about, that poster.
Yeah.
And then also about, I guess, Hedda's look, because I think it just spoke so much. Just you saw her in that dress and it kind of like told a story. Yeah.
Yeah. So the poster, that's, went through so many versions and iterations, and I'm slightly annoying. I love posters. I love like marketing materials for movies. I really am because as a fan of films growing up, like that's your first point of contact, and
totally
so you're super invested in that stuff. And I remember just like chains of emails and me sending like lots of references and all that stuff. And my Matt Curtis, our titles guy, he did all of our titles. Like I was like, can you just like figure out like how to make your Hedda word fit into this image? And it was is that image of Hedda with the lipstick smeared. And I just really wanted to show, it feels a little bit horror almost. And I wanted it to feel like you're not going to watch just like it's not going to be Merchant Ivory, it's going to be like confrontational a bit, but also a bit sad, like everything your partner said actually. And I felt that image captured it perfectly. And the look of Hedda, we have really one dress for most of the film. There's that stunning red dress that she wears where, she's really like stomping around, yelling at everyone, throwing flowers out of the window. But for the party, it was really important that we figured out a look that encapsulated everything that she was, which was like the feminine, the gentle, the vulnerable, but also like taking up a lot of space, like with that skirt, and daring, like the deep sort of like sweetheart neck and the plunging neckline, and also like her confinement, like she's in a really tight corset throughout the entire film, and then the hair, like those like sharp bangs, like someone called them cutty, and I thought exactly. So like it was every single thing. And then her pearls was like, that like sort of like choking, like everything we wanted to do was a mix of like what she hated about her life and what she loved about herself, all in a look.
Did you collaborate really, was this your first time with the costumer?
My second time.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of crew from the Marvels on this. Sean Bobbitt, second time. Kara Brower, my production designer, third time. Lindsay Pugh, costume designer, second time. My grip, my second camera, like we a lot of them came with me from that film, which was like so amazing. And then on to my next film, which is great. And Lindsay is just like a mad scientist genius of a costume designer. And so, I want to be like, we had these deep, long conversations into the night, but really, I think I sent her some references. I said like a few key things about the characters. And then she came to my office and she had this stunning book full of sketches for the costumes. And that's basically what we did for all the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy. I was like, have you had that experience where it's just like, here it is?
my favorite thing is to work with a collaborator who could be a filmmaker or like who will surprise me and come in and be like, make it their own. Like, I don't really love being prescriptive. So yeah, that's my favorite when they come in and like, hey, I have an idea. And I'm like, it's
great. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. No, 100%. It just feels like my rule of thumb is, I should be right most of the time, but you're my department head. You should be right some of the time, because I'm very specific, but I'm super open to what, like, first, just something brilliant from someone else to come through. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. You mentioned the shutdown and that kind of led to a ton of rehearsal. That wasn't planned?
Well, no, definitely planned rehearsal, but we had rehearsal again because we also had new actors because we had to recast a couple of roles after the actor strike.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did going through the rehearsals twice help? Like, were you ultimately like grateful? And can you talk a little about like fighting for rehearsal time? Because that's like,
I didn't have to fight.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never had to fight for rehearsal, actually, weirdly. I don't know why, because even like people think Marvel films are just like show up and someone else has done all the work, but actually, like on the Marvel film, I also had rehearsal time. What was unique about this experience was we rehearsed on all the sets that were already dressed, and we rehearsed on dress sets. One, because it was before we were supposed to shoot, and it was one location, but also when we came back after the strikes, the owners of the house allowed us to keep their house dressed for our movie for 4 months, I think, while we waited to see when the strike would end, if we'd still exist, once the strike ended.
Did they live there?
It was like it's Lord and Lady Hildyard, and it was they live there, but also they have a home in London. And we didn't take over their entire house, but like their main, the huge, like the great hall, like their library, we tore out their kitchen. They had a modern kitchen. We tore it out, made it like Victorian and unusable. And they just were so passionate about us making the movie there, and were amazing. So
that's great.
Yeah.
You did make their house look great also.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not like you left it dystopian.
We had great bones. Yeah, no, for sure. It wasn't like like a zombie film in there or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really, well, we were like, were they having parties in there? Like, I think they were, because they're really hot to trot, those guys. They're
great.
Really,
Then it's got a lived in quality.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I personally get kind of stressed out when working with lots of extras. Do you?
I think I used to.
Yeah, it's like one big crowd scene.
For the whole movie.
Yeah, I'm just curious how that went and what that's like, or how you like to work with a crowd.
So the thing I realized about myself is that I do not see background. So what that means is I'll be watching like my actors, and then my producer will say, Nia, that person's genitals are out or something. And I'll be like, I didn't notice. Like it will be that extreme where like they'll be like, this person in yellow is distracting. And I'm like, I'm watching my keys trying to figure out if the scene is working between them. It's very extreme. So what I realized was, my ADs are supposed to work with the background. And so like after like a couple of takes, then I can start to like see everyone else. And I'm like, okay, the actors are good. It's fine. But I'm so supported by like the ADs. Like my AD, Will Dodds, he is excellent with background, and his whole AD team is amazing. So I knew that he had it under control, and so I really leaned on him for that. And then my producing partner, Gabrielle Nadig, she will not let anything go. She's like, that person's hunched over. Why they like that? And whenever I saw her like stomping onto set, I was like, uh-oh. And then Will would get like territorial about the background, and it was like quite fun for me to watch from afar. Yeah. But I was in really good hands. And so
that's great.
So it wasn't stressful, this one. I think initially I was, because when they ask you like, how many on this day, how many on this day, how many in this scene, how many when we look that way, and you're like, I don't know numbers.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people are in this room. Like I literally can't. So, but my ADs can. So, it was that sort of worked for me with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I should just get over it and just let someone else handle it.
But I'm trying to think, I'm thinking about your films, and I'm like, is there a lot of background? You have like, but they don't feel like background.
Not a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're like, they need to be doing exactly the thing.
Not even. It's just like, not to make this about me, but
let's make it about you, Daniel.
Like, yeah, just people sitting around for hours. Like I kind of like worried about them.
So we had this issue, where we're doing night shoots, or we'd be doing day shoots, and people would have to get in there so early. And I'm like, I can't have people coming in at 3 a.m. to start shooting at 8 because they're like have to go through the line of doing background, and we only have this many people. So that was a thing we had to figure out for sure.
Yeah, to help them not fall asleep.
And also, it's just not safe to have them, or like leaving super late. I feel that that makes sense.
But they did a great job. Your AD team and your extras.
My extras felt like
amazing. I was at a party. Yeah, they looked great. Yeah. I was like, maybe they're having fun.
We actually had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I'd let them watch the monitor too, when we were just like, because they'd just be like, like leading, and I'm like, here you go, guys. Like, here's the chandelier dropping. It was really, they were a good group.
Yeah. I'm just going to talk about extras all night.
Please.
Did you get into the edit and like fall in love with some extras? Like, were they the same people the whole time?
We actually,
because that happens to me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it's only in the edit that I notice the background.
Notice the person. Yeah. So actually, there's a woman. This is not this movie, but in the Marvel film, there's like a yellow woman. Tara knows. There's a yellow woman, like an alien, I guess. She's yellow. And in post, I was like, oh my God, she's in every scene. And then it became a joke. And so we were like, let's just put her in every scene. And so when we did additional, we were like, get the yellow woman back. She's also in that scene. So it's kind of like surreal. But in this movie, what was really great about our extras is that when we were shooting, there were people at the party who were like some of the wives, like Mrs. Dunbar, who were like not going to have any lines, but we're going to be like a main actor's or like a named actor's spouse or something. We're just so good that we just were like, okay, actually have a line, do this. Like, we were just really lucky. We had people who could really like elevate what they were doing and like do more than what was asked of them initially. And so, yeah, I did fall in love with them. Yeah.
Me too. Just for a few hours, but yeah. One of my least favorite questions is going to a film school, and I totally understand why the question is like, do you have advice for breaking into the industry?
Yeah.
And then like, it's like, I don't know, like everyone's so different.
Yeah.
But in an industry that rarely has women or Black women directing, I kind of wanted to ask you, what is your advice specifically to like women and women of color out there who want to be filmmakers? Because you've pulled some incredible things off.
Something for me personally, I mean, there's like the obvious stuff, like, which actually sometimes isn't that obvious, which is I was a writer-director. I didn't really come up through shorts and having shorts or doing anything else. My first film was the first thing that anyone saw that I made, which, I feel bad because I had Kickstarters for my shorts and no one will ever see those films. But it was like, I write.
No one will ever see those shorts?
No.
Okay.
Some people have seen them, but it's we've moved on.
Yeah.
And we moved on so much more quickly than I thought we would.
Yeah.
So even like I feel, bless them. I dream of like having all my Kickstarter funders like at a premiere of mine or something.
Yeah.
I should get around to that.
Yeah.
So it's on the record now.
Retrospective.
So exactly.
You can wait a few more years.
Exactly.
Like, okay, fine. Here's the shorts.
Exactly. Oh my God, that'd be so funny. And weirdly, the only short that I have that people can see is one I made in high school that I only put on YouTube for my friends who are in it, and I can't get it off YouTube because I no longer have access to that account.
Yeah.
And YouTube won't let me take it down. They're like, sorry, girl. And so this ridiculous horror film that I made at 1 a.m.
We're all going to look it up now.
Sophomore year in boarding school, called The Black Girl Dies Last, is the only short I have that people can watch, which is crazy. But what was your question?
Oh, yeah, that answers it perfectly. No, the question was advice for...
Sure. So besides the writing and like don't think you're going to like take a month off and go to a castle and write a script. It's like figure out how to do it in your life and then apply to everything. That for me was like the big thing. It's like apply to everything. And I happened to get into Sundance and that was my path. My friend's path was she applied to Nichols, became a semifinalist, didn't win, but that's how she got her agent. Like, it's just like knock on every door, kick every door, and then knock again. But then I think for me as a Black woman, it's like you have to do all that stuff. But then and something kind of what the movie's about too, it's like, I think there's like the obvious oppression from the outside, but then there's like what you've internalized and like the self-limitation. I had to learn how to like own my authority. Even once I was getting the jobs and even once I was in the rooms, like really learning how to own my authority and stand like 10 toes down and be like, this is what I'm doing and this is why. And contending with the fact that I know that like my voice, like when I speak, people hear it differently, you know, and that I take up more space than that I know I'm taking up because I'm a Black woman, and coming to terms with that, making peace with that. That's been a journey. I think then what you internalize can sometimes be more damaging than what comes at you from the outside. So that's a big thing. And then also like, I think it will always be hard when you're starting out, but as I made my 5th movie, you know, last year, I just really hold on to the good people. Like Sean Bobbitt for me as my DP is such a godsend. Like we made 3 movies back to back together and his crew is so wonderful, so respectful. Like I've had really disrespectful crew before and you just really have to hold on to the good people. And that to me has been the really the most important thing. Like from crew to producers, like that's really helped me get through this.
Yeah. I love that. That works for me too.
But it's so important.
Yeah. To find your community and to not, I feel so lucky to not be doing it alone.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, I have another Daniel, but I also have all these other people. I know.
I find that so tender. When I first heard of you guys, because I watched Turn Down for What, and I was like, this is the most genius thing I've ever seen. And I was like, the Daniels. And I was like, oh, they're 2 Daniel people. I was like, this is so sweet. They have each other.
Yeah. I mean, I basically directed that solo because he was busy dancing.
Oh my God, he's in it.
Yeah, he's the star.
He's the boner guy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You guys love boners.
Butts and stuff.
Everything. That's great.
Potty humor.
Yeah. Elevated
potty humor. Yeah, that's my genre. I instead of rewatching the movie tonight, I was watching Little Woods instead.
Oh, wow.
Which was so fun and so beautiful.
Thank you so
and
much.
Really incredible.
Thank you.
And I think it's so interesting that you and Tessa, forgive me if I'm wrong, that you've done those 2 projects together?
She was in the Marvel movie I did for like a day, but those are our 2 main, projects,
Was she like always going to be in the Marvel movie, or you were like, get her in here? She's got to.
No, she actually was before I think they just love Valkyrie, and also there was like a whole like thing on the internet about like Valkyrie and Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
that really came from nowhere. That's like there's no text to support any sort of relationship between those 2 people, but they ended up together in the movie, and then I appeared, and that was fun. Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
But my question was just like, what was it like to make 2 movies together, spread out? Like, how had she changed as an actress, or what do you think she would say, or what did you feel like that had changed in you?
I mean, she was on my first film, so she saw me day one, like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, like she really, and she's such a generous, kind, open person, and really, and actually my entire cast, like I remember James Badgedale sitting with him and not knowing him at all, him going, I trust you, like the day before we were supposed to start shooting. And he said that not because he necessarily trusted me, but because he was like, you're a first-time filmmaker and you need to know that you can direct me, basically. And Tessa was that times 1,000, you know, and we met, I think 2 years before we shot, became really good friends. So she was already like one of my closest friends by the time we shot that movie. But now we have 10 years of friendship, like deep. She's like a sister to me. And so there was that. And then on top of that, she's gone off to become capital T Tessa Thompson. And then I've made, 3 films. And this is my 4th film, and I knew what I wanted it to be. So I was just frankly better at the job and more confident and owning my authority. And she was also doing that in a really beautiful way. But we actually figured it out. We were like, it's like making a movie with your partner. Mm-hmm. We're so close that we have this shorthand that's like really great. But then we also have a shorthand that's like, can you just say the line, Or she's like, I'm not going to do that. Like it was really, which is quite fun. And also she's a producer on it. So that was another element. Like she was an exec on Littlewoods, but she had a really light touch on that because, it's a different thing. But this one, where Hedda is the first film that her company Viva Mod has released, and so also learning each other in that dynamic as well, which is very different from actor-director. For me, my producer-director relationship is very different. So like we had a lot of like learning to do in that space, which was really fun and really like rewarding. But it was like hoping for the best and it being better than that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, one last quick question.
Yeah.
I like to ask people is there a crew member no one ever asks you about that you like would love to be like, shout out to so-and-so this
Absolutely.
movie? Okay.
Simon Wood is our Steadicam / Trinity operator / Simon. We invented a new rig that we call Simon. His name's Simon. And he is like so good at his job, so creative. We'll be like, do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to do that. But what about this? I'm like, oh my God, Simon, that's amazing. He's also one of the most joyful people I've ever met, like really good energy on set. And I think, as a director, it's like, I'm not holding the camera. I'm not, pointing the lights. I'm not doing that, and so you have all these like arms and legs that are out there operating for you. And you're in a way the brain, but even then it's like, it's more like an octopus where all the legs have brains. Is that true? That's true, right?
That all octopus legs have brains?
They each have, there's a brain on each leg, right? That sounds crazy.
No one
that can't
Googled
be true.
that.
That cannot be true.
Yeah, I think there's brains
I feel like
in every
I read that
suction
somewhere.
cup.
Right? Anyway, so
it's all brain, I think.
Wow, yeah. But I think they're genuinely aliens from like an asteroid or something. But
exactly.
Anyway, they just feel like not of this space. But my point is, they're like, we're getting out of here. They're like octopus brains. But my thing is like, you really lean on these people to like make your vision, but then they can make it better. And so Simon Wood, Steadicam operator, amazing.
All right. Round of applause for camera operators and filmmakers. Congratulations, Nia.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. The Director's Cut is available wherever you listen to podcasts. And please share, subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow film buffs find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America.